In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. And realistically, there's like a lot of other stuff too. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xaereth Prevails. Today we're going to talk about Relic 8 characters and which ones should get the priority to get there. We're not talking about requirement characters, we're not talking about Galactic Legends, but everything else is fair game. Like, which characters benefit more from going from, instead of putting them at 7, and like, which ones benefit more from taking that little jump forward. So let's get to it, folks. Remember to hit that like button and everything. Thank you to all my patrons. We gotta just move though, guys. This is a lot of stuff to discuss. Holy cow, we're in the game. This is madness. Wow, this is so maddening or something. It's certainly something. So, all right, the first ones, obviously, you want the Galactic Legends to be Relic 8 if you can. A lot of my characters will be Relic 9 because my account is, big. I spend money on this game, etc. But Galactic Legends, that should be an obvious one. We're not going to spend much time on them at all, just because they're really good. And the other one that I should just point out here, guys, before we get into individual characters, is Jabba and company. They all really, really benefit from having lots of relic levels. You can see I don't have quite all of them up to Relic 8, but even without the crate raid, which is going to be going away, this team is still just really, really strong at 8, and you still have a few months of being able to do the crate raid, not to mention who knows what role the crate raid is going to play in the future if we're actually going to be able to keep running it in some capacity. But one way or another, this team is just so hard to kill with good relic levels. So definitely something I want to throw out there. So none of these characters are going to be on this list, but that's kind of an implied addition to it. Now let me show you a Relic 7. Actually, we could just show you on Embo. The boost from going from 7 to 8, and the big thing here, guys, is this is kind of the attacker's relic level. Though tanks really benefit a lot from it too. But look at the damage boost. So before you add mods to the equation, you're jumping up somewhere around 650 to 700. I might just call it 700 for the ease of it in this video, but you can see it, like 700 boost is it's a pretty substantial one as far as relic levels go. Going from 7 to 8 on an attacker is really, really beneficial. Going from 7 to 8 on a tank, you're still getting a nice boost in armor, you're still getting a nice boost in health, and you're getting nice boosts here and there. It's just, the attack, the damage is pretty nice. And then the other thing about being a tank is once you get it into 8, it's easier to be like, oh, hey, why don't you go to 9 as well? And 9 is the one that gets really nicely boosted for the, for tanks. So, all right, first off, guys, we have General Skywalker, and the thing about him, he's... what you really want is to eventually get him to 9. Honestly, I'm not trying to push 9 on it. I mean, we have more and more resources, right? Which is part of why I'm trying to discuss all of these relic levels and everything with you, because planning it's so important to be able to say which things are going to really optimize my roster, right? And General Skywalker is definitely one at Relic 9 that really benefits. He loves the extra protection, especially, remember, because when he kneels, and eventually he'll stand back up again with full protection. But before that, you're also adding a little bit of armor to him. You're adding, the other nice thing that you're adding, guys, is all the extra damage and armor pen. Remember, he's ramping his damage over time with his lead by, when an enemy gains a buff, all of his guys, including himself, gain 2% offense, which that adds up pretty dang quickly against certain teams. Like, you'll kill a Rey team with Cal so quick, Relic because he's like, hey, who wants stacks of protection? And everyone's like, me. And General Skywalker's like, lol. They all laugh out loud. He's very, very stat hungry, and the more damage you can give him initially, the better off you're gonna be. You have the armor pen, you have, it just wants all the stats, guys. Going from 7 to 8, very, very strong choice for him. Commander Luke Skywalker, I don't know what's going to happen with General Leia, or sorry, Galactic Legend Leia when she comes. Luke may stop being a good choice for this, honestly, because who knows where Chewpio's going to go. Chewpio grabs the leader of his squad, he grabs the stats, and hands out 20% of that leader's stats to everyone. Like, Commander Luke probably prefers crit damage set, except just for himself. Maybe we'll switch to it, but right now you put him with offense set because Chewpio's stealing those stats and handing them out. He's distributing them like candy, delicious candy. So having him Relic 8, I mean 9. I put 9 on him for platoons for Rise of the Empire, but he's really stat hungry himself. But his squad, it's like if you take 20% of his offense, like that's a lot, actually, guys. That's if you take 1,000 off for Relic 9 or something, I don't think you even get that much. But I mean, 20%, you still get 2,000 extra offense for Han Solo to be able to just demolish people's faces. So probably worthwhile, guys, to put him Relic 8. Maul is someone who has what I mean, I've been thinking of it in terms of like revenue streams. So he has 2 revenue streams for damage. He does damage based off of his offense stats as per usual, but then like General Grievous, he also does damage based off of his max health. If you read the Anguish ability, it'll explain it to you. I'm not going to read it to you. Go learn to read if you can't do it, or ask your dad to help you. Or your mom. Your mom likes to read. I know. But, just kidding. But seriously, guys, the thing is, he does a lot of damage based off of his offense and his health, and so every time you increase his relic levels, that's why I think an early Relic 9, or, you know, maybe not early, but Relic 9 on him isn't unwarranted, because he's double dipping. He's a damage dealer who gets damage from his, like, physical damage stat, and then he's also gaining damage based off of his health stat. Really convenient for a guy who likes to hit things real hard and twirl his saber and wield his robo legs, etc. Darth Vader is someone who, there's 2 good reasons for him, guys. First off, he does a lot of damage. Remember, Culling Blade does extra damage, 50% more damage for each effect dispelled. Remember, he's dispelling all debuffs on characters, so like, you know, the damage over times that he's causing and stuff. Whatever squad he's with, he does a lot of damage, and that's nice because he's an attacker, so he's getting those extra 700 extra offense to, and then it stacks on top of that, like 50% of extra damage for each stat. Like it just really adds up. Going from 7 to 8, it's noticeable. The other thing about it, guys, is he has a ship that if you want to use Empire to counter Negotiator, if your opponent is crazy and has a Relic 9 Kenobi, which I know a lot of people, you're not going to have an opponent who does that, but if you run into it in Territory Wars, or, I mean, some people just do that. I mean, I run into people who have it all the time. I personally don't have it, but a lot of people do. If they do that, though, Negotiator is faster than your Relic 7 Darth Vaders. If you put him to Relic 8 and you put 6E mods on him, he's going to be faster than any Negotiator found in nature. So you can do it, guys. You can kill, and him going before Negotiator is key for a lot of the counters. So it's not just an idle like, oh, he's faster, but that doesn't matter. Like, it actually does matter. It's an important thing. In fact, General Grievous, wow, where'd your mods go, dude? That's ludicrous. You need to knock that off. You're so naked right now. But the thing about General Grievous, guys, he He is stat hungry. There's also two reasons for him. Though, first off, he doesn't do damage based off of offense, so a relic 7 to 8 seems a little bit sketch. The thing is, he still does damage based off of his max health, so he's boosting his health when you relic him, and that's nice. But then he has such a high health pool that if you give him a lot of good health mods, which obviously I don't have right now. Hold on, let me get him on him for a sec. Alright, here's his mods, guys. So if you give him enough health, guys, I mean, he really takes off. He gets a lot of health, but then you can also do cool stuff like, you know, add a little extra potency to him, or speed. He really responds to all of this stuff pretty well. And the other, so you want those good stats on him, like absolutely, because he also ramps damage over time if he has droids on his team. The other big thing, guys, is his ship. There's not like something you have to outspeed necessarily, but remember, it's going to do more damage. It's going to be a little bit faster every time you boost his relics, and his summoned ships. A lot of people don't realize his vultures that are summoned from there, not the one that you start with, but the ones that are summoned, they are all based off of his stats. So they're boosted, and their damage, their survivability, everything is boosted based off of him getting extra relic levels. Alright, Malgus should be a fairly easy choice, guys, because he does max health damage, or he does damage with his big hit based off of his max health, and so you're gonna want to give him lots of health, and what better way to do that than with some relics combined with good modding. The other big piece of it, guys, is, ooh, we're out of it, hold on a sec. You also really want to get him, so you want to give him a lot of good health from his mods, from his relics and everything, but then you also, from his kit, want to give him some crit avoidance on his arrow, and the more you can, if you can give him a crit avoid arrow, the higher stats you get, you're gonna have obviously less health if you give him the crit avoid arrow, which I'm still working on obviously here, but you want to keep him alive, and having not that much health is going to hurt you, obviously, so the more relic levels you give him, the more you can afford to do something eccentric, like boost his crit avoid to make it so that he's got like 120% crit avoid or something obnoxious like that. Not to mention, we don't know yet, Leviathan hasn't been released quite yet. We see that we have the kit and we can use his ship, but that ship is going to do better based off of him getting more relic levels. Bando, obviously he's going to do more damage based off of his whistling birds. He also has a better chance of being able to survive if you're using him for the off-meta counter to Lord Vader from Maul's Barrage. If Maul can like kind of leapfrog his damage level so that he can hit Bando right before he gains a bonus turn, and then he can hit Bando and kill him, like kind of just leapfrog it, then you're going to lose that counter quite a bit. So being able to survive it is pretty nice to have extra stats from his relic level. Not to mention, you're doing 20 instances of damage with your whistling birds, and then of course he's a pilot to it's right now the second best fleet in the game. If you don't have him as part of your executor fleet, then you don't really have an executor fleet. It's pretty garbage. I just did that in territory battles. Dark Trooper, lazy trooper. He doesn't even walk over to his opponents. He's like, I'm gonna use this jetpack, and then he goes and punches their face in. It's very impressive. But I mean, the only stat he cares about, guys, is offense. And if you want him to succeed, give him more offense. If there's one relic level one relic 8 that I don't regret at all, like I think it might be like number 1 on my list. Honestly, if I had to just pick one that they're like, hey, all your other relic 8s are just like not gonna exist anymore, you have to pick one to keep, I might just keep his. Not to mention, I don't know off the top of my head, and I'm not gonna check, but maybe he's part of the Endor raid, the new raid that's coming out. If he is, that's another reason to put good relics on him. But going from 7 to 8, substantial difference. My alt has him at 7, then I use this guy at 8 on my main, and it is really nice to have him there. Not to mention, once you get to like top 50, where my account floats around a lot, people have crazy modding, and being able to do substantially more damage every punch is nice. Starkiller follows his Sith master around like a little puppy and slices faces. He does a lot of good stuff, guys. Remember, he has two kind of income streams as well in terms of damage. He does damage based off of his physical damage, of course, with his lightsaber, but then he also has his like mini ultimate ability, and when he does that mini ultimate, it does damage based off of his max health. I don't even know if this is the right place to look for it, guys, but he does damage from that based off of his max health, and yes, 80% of his max health to all enemies and stun them, all of that stuff. But it's nice when he can do that if he has more stats, as you might imagine. So, boosting his health, a lot of people will actually get him to 9. Well, a lot of eccentric people get him to 9 just because it does extra damage based off of for his ult. And then you're also obviously getting damage on his physical. I think his physical is more important, but you get to double dip again as you add relics to him, because it adds health damage from his ult and physical damage from his puppy following lightsaber slashing. Dash Rendar is the pilot of the main ship, or maybe the second main ship in the best current meta fleet. I know that's going to change in a week, but it's the best current meta fleet. And so you want him to be fast anyway, so that Profundity can hand him a turn with his basic, and then he'll take 2 turns if he's fast enough, and then Profundity will go again, and you can cause a really cool loop of just keep handing him turns, so that you get your ult super duper quick. That is one option. The other thing is he just does a crazy amount of damage with his AoE and his basic. He just does. He's an engine of destruction. He's a cool guy, folks, with crazy weird shoulder pads. Alright, let's see if we can turbo mode here. So Mace Windu, he's not only the pilot of the worst fleet in the existence of this game, he's also the most stat hungry MFer to walk this game. So remember, he wants offense, he wants potency, so he can do his ability block and stuns. He wants health so that he can do extra damage from his basic. He does a lot of crazy stuff. So he's tanking, he's doing damage, he's debuffing. He wants all the stats, and you can get all those stats from you can get damage and offense, and health, all from his relics. I don't know if 9 was really the wise choice, but he's a tank and he's so stat hungry. When I saw the ability to get him, I got him to 8 and I was like, oh, I could get him to 9, and I just impulsively clicked it. I kind of regret it, but it's not that hard to, he does a lot of damage, and he makes a huge impact. One of my favorite current Jedi, folks. Ben Solo, I think he should probably be higher on the list, but and remember, this isn't just a hierarchy list. It's not like General Skywalker was the #1. It's these are all characters who are worthy. You guys can choose based off of your roster, obviously. But Ben Solo, I have a video floating around out there somewhere saying that Ben Solo should only be modded for health, just so he can stay alive. Like, the initial thought on modding was just totally off, guys. I was just flat out wrong, unfortunately. But the thing is, he has this ability redeemed that lets him ignore protection, and when you mod him for crazy offense and you give him some relic levels to really turbo boost that offense, then he starts destroying people, because especially if you're like in the mirror and you're facing your opponent's Rey and she's like, here, have some more protection, and you're like, man, I'm never gonna get through all this. Ben Solo's like, don't even bother, I'm just gonna one-shot them, and then even if they're not dead yet, I'm gonna lock their healing for 4 turns, healing immunity for 4 turns that can't be dispelled. So then he's gonna wrap around, do this big hit again, and slice them to death. It's very gruesome and very satisfying. I can't believe he's a light side character because of all the dirty things he does to people. It's pretty awesome. Wampa, remember, he's very stat hungry too. He wants to start with high tenacity, wants to start with high health, and that doesn't leave a whole lot of room for offense, but he boosts his own offense based off of his total starting offense. And so stacking offense is nice, but if you start with 1%, then he's not going to stack very fast, even if he uses Furious Foe. But if you start with thousands of damage, then he's going to boost himself quite a bit more. And so the more relic levels he gets, the more he's going to be able to ramp damage quickly, and he's going to be able to rip people's faces off. I have a video about how to use him in GAC, and I recommend people watch that. It's a crash course video. You guys can search for that. Savage is someone who also, like, everything is based off of his stats, his survivability, his ability. I mean, he also hits pretty hard as well. I mean, he's actually just an attacker. Here, look at my face. My face can go away for a sec. Where is it? There we go. He's an attacker, and so he gets extra damage going from 7 to 8. And not to mention, though, he's also, like, in the context of a Sith team, when he has his Omicron, which the only point you do this is for his Omicron, then he gets all these really cool stats based off of his currently existing stats, which obviously, if you go from 7 to 8, is going to be a nice little boost. Vander Chewy, I just got him to 8. I would love to get him to 9 because he's a tank. Technically, he gets this nice little boost to health. But remember, so he gets like a 13,000 boost to health. But then that's before modding. So modding's going to give him a nice hike as well. But then Beast, his ability here, is just going to give him 80% more health, and then his big hit is based off of his max health, and it just, so he becomes a hard to kill guy, which is vital that he doesn't die because he's reviving everyone. But then he also does more damage than Dash a lot of times. He'll do 100 to 200,000 damage even if you're only relic, quote unquote, only relic 7 on him. Not to mention he's required for what, like a phase 5 mission in Rise of the Empire territory battle. It's impressive. Alright guys, final round. That last one wasn't as speed round as I wanted, but BT1, go watch him do relic damage at relic 5 and be impressed, whistle in appreciation, and then boost his damage by like 1,000 every relic level all the way up to 8, and watch how he just one-shots characters off of Galactic Legend teams, and it's just very impressive, guys. He's the reason Aphra can counter half of the Galactic Legends out there. He is a total engine of destruction, or actually, in this case, he is an agent of destruction. His second ability, very, very impressive little murder bot. Jedi Anakin, he does a lot of damage based off of a lot of different things. If he's with a Qui-Gon team, he just does a crazy amount of damage. Remember, he gets that offense boost, but then he's good throughout the game, honestly, with on a Padme team, on a Qui-Gon team, even on a Jedi Master Kenobi team, or really on any team. He gets a lot of extra bonus turns, and so he's always wielding his extra damage, but then his ship also really benefits from it because obviously you want relic levels for that ship to be able to do extra damage and to be more survivable. It's not as relevant of a fleet anymore, but still very, very strong. Royal Guard, I always feel sorry and sad when I see people using a Relic 5 Royal Guard because it's just so much easier to kill him. Remember, with his unique, if you put him with Lord Vader, I don't care if he's not with Lord Vader, then don't put relics on him. Beyond, well, I knocked a water bottle over, that was madness, but with Lord Vader, if you're not with Lord Vader, then I don't care. Don't even bother with any relic levels for him besides Sith Eternal Emperor unlock. But the level 6, the 6% health boost that he heals all of his buddies, it really adds up if you don't watch out for it. He is just substantially more difficult to beat when he is relic 7 or 8. And so if you have Lord Vader, guys, get his relic levels, have his relic levels mostly keep up with Lord Vader's. I would highly advise. Relic 5 is just so easy to kill with off-meta stuff. And then his shuttle is also in the front lines. A lot of times he's in the starting lineup and you don't want him to die. And he gets all these cool stats that he gives himself. And if you give him relics, obviously that ship is going to be more difficult to take down. Fennec already does a ton of damage. She's required at 7 for Jabba, but remember, she does 5 kicks to the nuts to anyone who pisses her off, and she does armor shred, so all of her damage just completely, I mean, it shreds people. It does a very She has no shred of decency in her. She just destroys people. She deletes them. She does that better if she's Relic 8 instead of 7. Crew is one that's like, well, even if you don't have First Order, you want him as a tank, a lot of times plug and play, because you get a pre-taunt from his unique. He also, if you use him as the lead for whatever team, he has crazy regeneration combined with his regeneration from his unique. Not to mention his ship already does a lot of damage at Relic 7 or even just like Relic 1. If you get him up to 8, it not only will survive longer, but do more damage. Imagine that. And that's it, guys. That's it for Relic 8. Which ones did I miss? Those are my top 20. Would love to hear your thoughts. I will leave it to you. Thank you all so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Xerath prevails.